Collective. We appreciate you tuning in whenever and however you're watching or listening, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And our show can also, of course, be found pretty much anywhere podcasts are found, including but not limited to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, and Spotify. We're just over 3 weeks away from opening day, and right now in our D1 baseball preview for the state of North Carolina, we're joined by the third-year head coach of the UNCG Spartans, Billy Godwin. Coach, we appreciate your time this morning.
Well, thanks for having me on, Bubba, and promoting our game.
Absolutely. I always enjoy talking baseball with you. And I talk about year three. It's really not year three because of the way 2020 went. Year one for you there in Greensboro was shut down because of COVID. And last season, you were still feeling the impact of COVID to a lesser degree. I remember a 10-2 start for your ball club, including a win over a program like NC State that went on to do very well in Omaha. So just if you would recap 2021.
Well, I think 21 certainly was a roller coaster ride for our program and our team. And, there's so many things that were out there we couldn't control, so many COVID protocol things. But I was really proud of our kids. We did some great things. We did we started really good, as you mentioned, beat NC State on the road. But we had wins, on the road against NC State, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech. But we started good, weren't very good in the middle, and then we ended much better and finished strong. And I think that's the testament is how you finish. I think we were 12-6 toward the end of the year, and after the rough patch in the middle. But really proud of the way our kids responded.
Before we dive into this year's club, if you would, and I know you have a new addition to your coaching staff, a guy that's familiar to the state of North Carolina. He played his baseball at Campbell, finished up just last year, Kevin Westlake.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's a local product here in Greensboro, went to Page High School. I actually got to see Kevin for the first time. He was pitching at Louisburg Junior College. I was there scouting when I was with the Yankees, and knew he was a good pitcher, good talent. Had a great career at Campbell. We were able to, when we had his position open, to attract him to come here and help me. He's kind of serving as my assistant pitching coach and helps me since I am the pitching coach.
Taking a look at this year's club, if you would, can just kind of take us around the horn. We'll start off positionally and start with the infielders and, who all you return and what you have coming in that may be able to contribute early.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, if you probably hear me talk over the next couple of minutes, we're going to find out we got a really good balance of some experience and depth of guys back that have played a significant amount. I think when guys start to get 200, 300, 400 at bats under their belt, as college hitters, they've got experience, and that's good. But behind the plate, we're returning a guy that's basically played a lot for us by there, Dallas Callahan, transfer from Coastal Carolina. Really good defensive catcher. Offense is improving. We brought in another transfer from Columbia State. Started at Ohio State, kid named Mitchell Smith. He'll give us some depth behind the plate. We have a really talented freshman in Banks Cox that we're really high on. Got big tool set. So we feel good about our depth behind the plate. Moving over to first base, we're going to make a transition. Guy that's been a 300 hitter in our program from left field. I think when he came here, he played some short third, but he's a Greenville, North Carolina product. Greg Hardison's going to transition to first base this year, along with a kid who's a sophomore. Zach Molly has got big power. I mean, huge power. 6'4", right-handed hitter. He hit a couple balls over 450 feet this fall. So it kind of reminds me of Devin Harris back in my East Carolina days, a little bit with the power. Hogan Windish is the guy returning for us, second base, fifth-year senior, or really junior. I have to always kind of catch myself with COVID, but Hogan has got unbelievable power, tremendous leader of our team, tough kid. Shortstop, we're returning Zach Budzik, was our pretty much everyday shortstop third baseman last year. Really good player, can run, good skill set, good arm, strong arm across the diamond. At third base is where we've got Matt Kemp returns. He played a limited time for us last year. We brought in an exciting freshman, Rowan Watt, who's the son of Rob Watt, who's the head coach at Mount Olive. And we think Rowan's got a tremendous amount of upside. And so I guess as you're hearing me talk, I'm talking a little bit about the depth, but we're really excited about the depth our team brings and the youth and experience. Left field or in the outfield, really in the corners, we've got Kennedy Jones, who I'll be honest is talented, Virginia Beach product, Maury High School freshman, as talented as any freshman I've coached. So we're really excited about what Kennedy brings to the table. We've got a Spartanburg Methodist transfer, can play first, can play third, kid named Dosey Jonas, hitting the 3-hole for them for 2 years in a very good program. Press Kavanaugh, who was a freshman All-American, went out up to the Cape Cod League, was an all-star there. He actually is going to probably position to play center or right. We've got another kid that's a really good defender in Brett Kelly, redshirted for us last year, has been impressive in the fall and the early preseason. Brad Bott, who has spent his 2 years here as a defensive replacement, can really play center field. And, Bub, I don't know if you know much about our field, but we have probably one of the largest fields in college baseball. So to have a guy that can go get it and run in the outfield is really important. Right, we've got a trio of Colin Fowler, Caleb Freeman, and really exciting another freshman, Ethan McKay. Really impressed our coaches this fall. Kid from Union Pines, good runner, strong, physical, has impact ability. So, as you can see, as I talk about our team, I get kind of excited because I really like our young kids, but then we've got some really good veteran leaders on our club too.
If you would, let's shift over and tell me about your pitching staff. What do you return there, and how's the weekend rotation shaping up?
Well, really, we only lost. We lost Brendan Collins, went in the 17th round last year to the Nationals. He was a weekend guy for us, big arm guy. So really, we returned every guy that had starting experience for us last year, and we expect, as you expect those guys to come back and be better because of the innings they've logged. Austin Keene's been a weekend guy for us since he stepped on campus. Even the first year when Coach Jarrett was here. We expect him to be a mainstay in our rotation. Austin Parsley has probably been the best pitcher, the most countable, reliable pitcher since I've been here. He's had great numbers since he's been here, strike throwing machine. He went up to the Cape Cod League again this summer, played for Bourne, was an all-star on the all-star. So he's got the talent to compete against the top players in the country. Got a lefty grad kid who was coming off Tommy John last year, Jared Mathewson, pitchability lefty. Really like him a lot. We've got a freshman, 6'4", left-handed freshman. We've had up to 93 this fall, Wesley Buck, from right up the road in Stokes County. And then we bring back, a trio of guys that threw out of our bullpen with Price King, Jake Wolf, Cross Robinson was our closer. And we added a big piece to that with KJ Wells, who was really an all-star in the Coastal Plain League and a closer. He'd been at Lewisburg, and he's a guy that has run it up to 95. And so we feel like we got better on the back end, and we've got some experience and a little bit of youth on the front side. Sam Murchison's another kid that's in position to start. Pitched about 30 innings at North Carolina Central last year. Got him because their program. They basically canceled their program, and he's from right down the road in Siler City. So we feel like we're better on the mound, and that's where, and my challenge here is, you can say old school, whatever you want to call it, but my challenge here is that we have to get better on the mound, and I think we've done that with some depth. And so, NC State made it to Omaha last year. If you looked at their stats, they made it to Omaha with 5 pitchers who threw the majority of their innings, and then the number 6 guy threw like 13. So got to get creative, not push those guys too much, get the right guy at the right time. You know how that works. And but we think we have the talent to be able to do that.
Now, Coach, you've referenced multiple transfers. If you would, how many transfers do you have on your roster? And obviously, one of the big developments in college athletics in general, and not just baseball, is the the one-time transfer without having to sit out, and the way that's going to impact the game. So just talk about your philosophy there, and your thoughts on turning to the transfer portal.
Well, we do. I mean, I think the transfers, we brought in were mostly JUCO guys. I mentioned Wells, Lewisburg, Smith, Columbia State. Um, that kind of thing. And Murchison came from Central, so they weren't going to have a program. I personally dislike the transfer portal. I think it's the worst thing that's happened to college baseball. I think that we've created an environment where kids can just drop, leave, do whatever they want to. I didn't lose any kids to that. Thankful for that. I did lose one kid, but it was a grad situation, and that's what you're finding. If the academic situation fits, I'm all for that. But not a huge fan of the transfer portal. I understand the value some programs see in it. But I think, we're talking about accountability, responsibility, loyalty. And I mean, there were over 3,000 kids in the transfer portal last year. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of guys entering the portal, and then unfortunately, a lot probably staying in the portal and losing opportunities to earn degrees, and at least really prolonging things as far as earning that degree. But taking a look at your schedule, you open up with 3 games down at South Carolina. They were much better a season ago, and then you have a 3-game series at UCF as well in the non-conference, and of course, you always have all the programs, in and around North Carolina that you're going to be playing in the midweek.
Yeah, I mean, and I think my thing here is that we want to when we recruit our kids to Greensboro, we want to play the best people. I mean, certainly the Southern Conference is a good league. It was my first time through it last year because of COVID. Really impressed with the quality of the league. I mean, I think 9th overall RPI, so it's a top 10 RPI league with 30 plus conferences out there. So it's in the top third, or at least was last year. So, you combine that with the location we're in and where we sit in the catbird seat, from a midweek standpoint where we're an hour and 15 minutes from Charlotte, we're an hour and 15 minutes from Raleigh. So, playing NC State, Wake Forest is 20 minutes away. Great programs like Elon. It's really kind of a neat travel deal for us that we sit in a hotbed of baseball. I think it's 18 Division I schools in the state of North Carolina that, our location allows us to play some really, really good opponents.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And talking a little bit more about the Southern Conference, programs in recent years like Sanford, Wofford, Mercer, they've kind of been the standard. So just what's your program going to have to do to rise to that level?
Well, the margin of error, and I felt in our league, we went into the last day of the season with the opportunity to finish in the top 4 in the league. And so it just shows that, I mean, what I was impressed with is how, for the majority, how good the programs were, and how I guess you could say how much parity we have in our league. The talent level from the top team to maybe the sixth place team is not that great. I mean, we just got to keep getting talent. I mean, we got to recruit well. We got to get the right guy. And when I say that, I'm just not talking about talent. I'm talking about we got to get the right competitor. We got to get the kid that wants to be at Greensboro, that wants to commit to getting his degree here. And certainly the talent is what carries you, but we've just got, our talent level has to continue to improve, and particularly on the mound. And I think that's how you close the gap and win championships is the recruiting. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Coach, opening day will be here before you know it. You'll be down in Columbia taking on the Gamecocks. But as always, we appreciate the visit this morning, and we look forward to having you back on down the road. Best of luck to you and the Spartans in 2022.
Well, Bubba, I appreciate you previewing the college programs. I mean, it's such a great area. I got a chance to know that scouting, and I always say this on every interview I do with anyone who promotes our games. I just appreciate what you do to promote the game of baseball.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.